What's going down? This your man Don T of Don T Records Music Group, and today I will give you a mixed breakdown of the song titled Smile. But before I get into it, I got to give a big shout out to my man Michino, the artist of this song and the producer of this song, DJ Metamorphosis of Washington, D.C., for allowing me to use this song to bring you this video content. And I want to say to all of you guys watching and gals watching, I appreciate you guys tuning in to my channel and let people know, I'm trying to bring some quality content to you guys to give you some nuggets so that you can go and be better mix engineers. Because if you're watching this, then you're a mix engineer. Okay, so let's get ready to get into it. But before we do, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. And also let me know what kind of content you would like. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Check it out. So the song's called Smile. And basically we're going to start from the beginning. How I like to start a mix. And that always starts with the drums. Regardless of whatever song it is, I'm always going to start with the drums. So if you look here on my screen, we got the 808 right here. And when you get these files, as you can see here, I left everything pretty much stereo. A lot of times I will convert mono tracks to mono, but in this case I just left it alone and went on and mixed it as is. So we got the 808 here. One of my favorite plugins I like to use on anything is the Pro Q3 by FabFilter. So the 808, I added just one plugin to it, and that was the FabFilter, which I really didn't do much, but I put it on there anyway because the FabFilter plugin has a certain sound to it. It gives you like a warm sound, so I just throw it up there anyway, regardless if I'm going to use it or not, just in case. So next we got a sub bass. Now this sub bass was threw in the mix after I had already mixed the song, but there was no problem to that. We threw her in there. But one thing you can see here, when the 808 is playing, if you look here, you don't see the sub bass playing. And the reason you don't see it is because these are different notes, and so if they played together, they would clash, and I couldn't kind of separate the two, so I had to have a compromise and play one versus the other because of the different notes being played, and it didn't kind of sit right with me. So we all came to an agreement that, just separate the two. All right, so if you look here, as I said before, I got my favorite plugin, which is that Pro Q3, and just doing a little bit boost on the bottom end, a little roll off at the bottom, just to clean it up a little bit. Then we hit it with a LA2A just to give it a little compression, not a whole lot, because you don't want to over compress your sub bass. So you want that thing to ring out. You do want to control it. So then I hit it with some lo-fi, just that distortion, just that 0.1, which is very popular with a lot of mix engineers. So then we roll down here. We got a parallel to the 808 right here. And basically I'm using a little bit of Saturn, FabFilter Saturn 2, just to kind of emphasize some of that low end. You'll be able to hear it on smaller speakers like your cell phone and so forth. And then we have another parallel for the 808, which is the I Love New York 2 by Baby Audio. And basically what this does is really gives you a lot of punch on the 808. So pretty much on the drums, this is what I have. Not a whole lot, because when you get good samples or a good recording, you don't need to do a whole lot to it. Just do what's necessary. And sometimes we overthink it, that we got to do so much, but really we don't, as long as the input is good. But one thing, and as I back up, that I like to do on the mix is I like to gain stage my 808s and my drums or my kick to a -10. It's sort of like the sweet spot in Pro Tools. So I like to kind of hit that sweet spot, and also when I hit the analog gear, I like to be around -10 dB in Pro Tools. So then we come down here, we got claps, and of course here we go again, my handy dandy Pro Q3. Didn't do it to a whole lot, rolled off, got some of the low end out of this clap, which I really didn't need. Then up here just had some resonance that I took out, not a whole lot. Then I hit it with some compression. Really like Isotope Neutron 3 comp because it's very transparent and it does the job. And just kind of squeezing the clap a little bit to just control it a little bit more. And then if you look here, we go to the snare. Again, rolled off, not a whole lot. On that, just got rid of some stuff that I didn't need. Hit it with, this is the Neutron 4 comp, which is pretty much the same, only thing different, it's got some other features here. So I hit it with that. Then we moved to the hi-hats. Just rolled off a little bit on the bottom end. Like I said, it's not, when things are recorded correctly, sometimes there's not a whole lot to do. Then we got the open hi-hat, same thing. Up here, I dipped out a little bit of the frequency at the top because it was a little bit crispy. I could have did a high pass and just dipped it down a little bit on the top end also to get rid of some of that brightness in it. But on this one, I just dipped out that one frequency that was bothering me, and that's that. You know what I'm saying? So keep on moving down. Got the crash cymbal again. Normally I would probably compress these things, but for this mix I didn't. And again, same thing, getting rid of some of those resonance frequencies, some of that brightness or whatever I didn't like in the sound. I went on and took it out. And if I go back, let me go back to that crash. You'll see that it's not a whole lot. You know what I mean? It's not a whole lot that I'm taking out. If you take a look here, it's not a whole lot that I'm taking out. So. And the reason that you would actually start taking out some of these frequencies is to kind of try to balance the sound a little bit more. You know, if you got peaks in the sound where that resonance, you can see it, it's always sticking out. And that's one thing I like about the Pro Q3 is that it actually shows you some of this resonance that's in that sound source. And you can actually immediately get to it. And that's why I love that plugin so much. But you want to try to really balance out some of these sounds a little bit so it's more balanced, and it'll definitely make a better mix when you try to balance these things out. So let's go ahead and move on down. Next we got a broom. Okay, and so on this I did use some compression, but again, not a whole lot going on, just a high pass on it. And then we went to the, again, Neutron. Just more compression just to control it a little bit better. Then we're going to move down. We got the cowbell. Cowbell, again, same thing. Not a whole lot going on. Got good samples. You don't have to do a whole lot, okay? So let's keep it moving. And then we got the congos, okay? So the congos, couple more frequencies dipped out, try to balance it out, or something that was bothering my ear, I went on and took it out just like before. But you see, it's not a whole lot. Generally I would add some compression to some of these sounds, but in this case I didn't feel it needed, and so I didn't. And then we'll go here to the Congo solo. Again, pretty decent sound, not a whole lot needed for it. And then that's pretty much it for my drums, okay? I did add some stuff on my drum bus. I love using the God's Particle without the limiter, of course, on my drum bus. You can also use like Saturn and something like that to give it some more energy, to bring out some of the harmonics in the sound. But this plugin right here for me works good. It's one of my go-tos on my drum bus. So there it is. And then I like to use, after that, I like to use the Waves SSL comp. Sounds great on the drum bus just to give it glue, to glue everything together. And I wouldn't really worry about my settings as much, but when I'm using this, I just want to get just a little bit of gain reduction, as far as not more than 1 to 2 dB of gain reduction. And then sometimes, again, I may add some other plugins on my drums, but I didn't in this mix. And I always like to tell you these type of things like, hey, I'm not always stuck to a script where I'm just doing the same thing over and over again. Because I do like the gold clip. You know, that thing sounds awesome on drums, and I like to use the gold clip. If you don't know what I'm talking about, let me bring it up real quick. Yeah, so I like to use the gold clip, right? Let me bring it down because it didn't want to come down. So I like to use the gold clip on my drums as well. The kick drum, it sounds great. Try to hit some of those peaks to control it even more, and that way, and also so that I can get it louder in the mix. And I may use two of these. I may use one on the kick, and I may use one on the drum bus as well. So it's a go-to plugin. Sounds awesome. All right, so we move down to the bass. So right here on the bass, like I said, it sounds great, right? Not a whole lot, right? But what I do like to use on bass is the lo-fi plugin, which I showed you earlier. And it depends on what the bass needs. Lo-fi plugin, compression, and you see right here, I ain't got no compression on this thing, you know, because I felt they didn't need it, and so I didn't use it. But normally I would use compression on there, as like the Neutron 3, or also the LA2A sounds good on bass. And I would probably use, depending on what I was trying to do, the MV from Waves. I think it's the MV2. Yeah, I think it's the MV2 from Waves. Let me go there real quick just to make sure. Yeah, MV2. If in case you don't know, that sounds great on bass. Kind of balance the top and bottom is what that plugin does. Balance it out and so forth. Then from there, I get into my instruments where I like to work on the most important things first. You know, what's your first most important sounds? And a lot of times you can figure that out by seeing a wave here. What instrument is playing the most, you know? And also, if I look at these different sounds here, you can see which one's louder, right? So these came straight from the producer. I can see, okay, that's louder, so it's probably going to be a main instrument that you want to focus on at the beginning of your mix. So we got some keys here, and again, I took out some resonant frequencies, as you can see, rolled some things off. It sounded great in the mix, and then that was it. I sometimes will use compression on keys like the Neutron comp, or I even like to use the Fairchild on keys too. So it just depends on what the keys need. Then we move down. As you can see, I got the Pro Q3 on the key backup. So same thing, just removing some frequencies here that I didn't like to actually kind of try to balance that instrument out. And as we keep moving, we got some piano low, and the same thing, just rolling stuff off. And you'll see some producers, I see a lot of producers, sometimes they just leave this information in there because it's already rolled off. But again, I like to kind of get rid of that information even though it's already dipped out, because it just gives me more clarity in my music. So I like to kind of move stuff out of the way of my low end so that stuff can have its home in that low end, and so it can ring out. And also it brings clarity to your mix. So it's great, you know, but everybody's different. There's no wrong or right answer. Just do what you feel like you need to do, what sounds good. As long as it sounds good at the end of the day, then we good to go. Okay, so now we got a piano backup. Again, not a whole lot, just dipping out a couple frequencies. All right, then we got a riser. Same thing here. And then we got the artist logo, the producer's logo, let me say, that he likes to put on every track. That's his signature logo. All right, so on the vocals, as I was stating earlier, one plugin that you will always see in my chain is the Pro Q3. And if it's not the Auto Tune Pro or whatever, then it's going to be the Pro Q3 as my first plugin. All right, so like anything else, looking at my screen, you see all these chops. I love to clean my vocals manually, because when you start to add different plugins like de-essers and all these things like that, noise reduction plugins, they tend to take something away from your vocal that you have to end up putting back in there. So to avoid that, I try to do manual cleaning to control S's and P sounds, explosives and things like that. And also to clean up the noise, I use noise reduction plugins, but mostly I'm cleaning my vocals up. And then I'm using, what you can see here, the clip gain in Pro Tools to kind of gain stage my vocals so that all my vocals are pretty much on the same level, because I try to keep all my faders around the same level as much as possible. Kind of just makes things easier. All right, so on my vocals, as you can see, pretty much on every vocal, I have mostly the same things except for the background vocal, which is a bell effect that I put at the end. But for the most part, most of the processing on these vocals are pretty much the same. As you can see on the intro here, which I'm on now, you see some of the cuts there in the vocal that I did to get rid of some of the resonant frequencies. Then I love to use the Universal Audio 1176. They have a couple other different ones that has a different tone, but this here silver one gives you a lot of energy, so I like to use it. And then I hit it with the Spectra. Love the Spectra, basically adding harmonics instead of actually boosting that frequency, and that works great. And then we hit it with the Neutron 3, again isotope, doing some more cleanup stuff that may have been reintroduced as you start to do processing. So I got rid of some more resonant frequencies, some more cleanup. Then I hit it with the Fab Filter de-esser. I love this one. There are some other ones out there, but I just love how this one sounds and how easy it is to use. Some can be a little difficult. And then I like to hit it with the Soothie 2. You know, I love this plugin. It's probably in my top 5. I'm gonna have to do a video on my top 5 plugins. That's coming soon. Yeah, I just thought of that, so that's coming soon. All right, so I just hit it with this a little bit, not too much, and then I kind of roll it back to about 60%, kind of doing some parallel type of stuff. I don't want it on there 100%. Then I hit it with some Saturn, give it some of that tube sound, so to speak, some of that analog sound, warm it up, and it boosts some of those harmonics in the vocal. And then I like to hit it with a limiter. All right, so here's a simple limiter. On newer mixes, you might see me using the Fab Filter L2. It sounds a lot better, okay? So I experiment sometimes and find out, hey, this sounds better. So if it sounds better, then I'm gonna use that one instead of this one, okay? Then effects wise on this here, as you can see, I got a plate verb. Then I got a large hall, which is not showing up. It's down the bottom. I'll show you in a minute. And then I got a half delay and then a quarter delay. So you'll see these effects down at the bottom in a minute. But you, as you can see, mostly this up here, the plugins are pretty much the same, except for on this vocal itself, I do have a bell effect on this vocal, okay? And for that, like I said, most of the rest of them are pretty much the same. Background vocal, let me see, I do have a background vocal, which is an ad-lib, called an ad-lib, down here. And that is a difference in the mix. And so pretty much what I try to do, if you can look at this here, is I try to get rid of some of the top end on the ad-lib or background vocal so that it doesn't get in the way of the lead. And it doesn't need all that top end air or whatever, because it don't need to be in the way of the lead, and then I just roll off. All right, so we get rid of that. But as far as the processing for the most part on the ad-lib, I just drag and drop, and if it's the same artist, it should work. If it doesn't work, we may have to do some tweaking, like adding additional compression to it, more compression, and then maybe adding some more reverb or something to that nature to kind of set the two vocals apart. So down here, as we move on, I got some effects here. I got my EQ. Basically, this is taking out frequencies in the incoming signal that I don't want to hit the reverb, kind of create space in the mix. And sometimes I'll go back and forth in which one goes first and which one goes second, because it gives me a different sound. So I may do it a little different one day versus the next, okay? So you just got to use your ears and see what sounds better. So I use the Valhalla, another go-to, very simple, very cheap, very affordable plug-in in the modern age, which is the white plate reverb. And then we come here, same thing. I got another one, but I'm using a different color, which makes things more exciting. And then we come here, another go-to is the H delay by Waves. Very simple. I do use Echo Boy. However, this is a simple plugin to use. It sounds great. It's very affordable to new engineers, beginners. So basically I'll set this up to taste. Although I'm using the EQ at the beginning, I'm also rolling off some frequencies at the bottom and also some frequencies at the top. Okay, so, and then not only that, as you can see here, I'm adding some reverb to the delays. You don't want dry delays, so you want to add some reverb to your delays. And then here's another delay, which is a quarter note ping pong. And so, yeah, we add that to it, and then we add some reverb to the delays again. Like I say, you don't want no delays that are dry. You don't want that. Sit better in the mix when they're wet. And of course, my mix bus, which I won't go through because it changes here and there. But if you look at my previous video, I went through those. I won't go through them today. But I'll tell you one thing I did add to my mix bus, and that was the gold clip, okay? Very, very nice plug-in. Sounds great. Actually smooths things out. Also making things louder. So awesome plug-in. And I won't go through my mix bus, like I said, but I'll go ahead and let you guys hear a little bit of this song. And after this, I'll leave a link to this song so you can actually see the official video of Mission O doing the song Smile. But I'll let y'all hear a little something of this, or just a little piece of it before we break. Again, you know, appreciate you guys taking the time to watch. But let's take a listen to some of this.
Oye, Indira familia, bienvenido. Y ahorita bailamos. Repito, bailamos. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Brighter day. Said the day is coming when you can truly smile again. When you take a moment to just stop stressing. You focus on the one who brings all the blessings. Brighter day. Said the day is coming when you can truly smile again. When you take a moment to just stop stressing. You focus on the one who brings all the blessings. No matter the trial, he's giving the joys a weapon. What's good, my brothers and sisters? Declaring you live in the whispers. We live in a world that's so real. It's never a fictional picture. No doubt we gon' see many trials. Problem, pressure, and pain do come. Beloved, please don't count it strange. Not always something we done. Sometimes they're given by God with a perfectly planned outcome, regardless of the many reasons. Even though you're feeling weakened, question if you are Christian. Stop the press, focus and listen. The way that we choose to respond is the mission determines for real, true inner contentment. Brighter day. Said the day is coming when you can truly smile again. When you take a moment to just stop stressing. You focus on the one who brings all the blessings. No matter the trial, he's giving us joy as a weapon.
Yeah. That's my jam.
Alright guys, yo, so that's a little piece of Smile. I'll leave the links below, so check it out. Show Mission O your support and DJ Metamorphosis. Again, shout out to those cats right there for allowing me to use this video, this music for this video content. And yeah, the link be below. Check out the official video down below. Go support Mission No. Thank you for supporting my channel. Thank you for tuning in. Yeah, and let your friends know, okay? Make sure you hit that like and subscribe. This is Don T of Don T Records Music Group. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you next time. Peace.